might be surprised to know that for these Common Core tests, so say Jimmy, what's your name? Henry. Henry's my teacher, and I'm the student, and I take the test. Henry can't see what I wrote, so if I got it wrong, he can't tell me what I got wrong and work on it the next day. These tests aren't designed to actually help teachers teach children. So they're actually taking away from classroom time. Thank you, you're a great teacher. I think that's something people don't know enough, is that these are not like the tests they remember, where they're like, hey, that was tough. I remember taking tests. They're not actually tests that are the next day, oh, the student got 2 plus 18 wrong, now I'm going to teach her how to get better. Instead, the tasks are whisked away, and they're not actually used for teaching. Yeah. So when you see parents and teachers piping mad about this, they're not wrong. They also really take away from classroom time and also from a teacher's self-respect. And that's important because these teachers are spending all day with our future. So if a teacher is in the classroom feeling like she's treated like a suspect instead of like a professional, because her salary is going to be decided by how well the kids do on tests that she's not allowed to see, that's an energy in the classroom that just doesn't work for real learning. And so more teachers are dropping out. The systemic effects of high-stakes testing are quite real. I think a lot of it is truth-telling about what's happening, storytelling about what's happening. And it has already changed policy. So on the state level, Governor Cuomo and others have changed their position, their public position on the high-stakes testing in Common Core. And state education policy has softened, not as far as it should. On the federal level, the ESSA, the new federal law governing testing, no longer requires states to bring those high-stakes tests. It allows them, but doesn't require it. That's a big deal. Do you guys see why that's a big deal? Because 2 years ago, if you went to your state senator and said, I don't like this, he or she would or could say, look, I get it, but we need the federal funding. That's no longer true. So parents and teachers' leverage is so much greater now than it was 2 years ago because of the opt-out movement, and because I think we're going in the right direction on that. But again, just like banning fracking is enough, we need to build renewables. Banning high-stakes testing isn't enough. We need to actually invest in arts, sports, music, social work, teacher centers, mentoring programs, the things that actually lead to a successful education. And recess.
So we have to go back 50
I really like recess.
So we have to go back 50 years.
There's a lot of, I mean, the American and the New York public education system is, I believe, the infrastructure of democracy. It's where we build our future selves. It's not just about taking math for a future job. It's taking math so when I'm in Congress, you can come and say, wait a second, you got your numbers wrong. It's our future citizenry. And I think there's extraordinary traditions to call on, but we also have to make sure that there's equal funding. So, yes?
I have a couple comments, if I could, with a question at the end. We, here locally on that single payer thing, something that people don't think about that often in the discussion. Here in our town, we've had a hospital since 1939.
Yeah.
And when I first moved here 45 years ago, the hospital was almost like the public school. If you're here, you go to that hospital. So, you got cancer, your cancer surgery's in that hospital. We've spent a lot of time in this country over the last 30 or 40 years turning our hospitals into competitive businesses. And if those competitive businesses are confronted with, I was on the hospital board a number of years, with one payer, one paying customer, then that paying customer completely controls that business and can decide what's there and what's there. So I think we ought to be careful about that. Secondly, just on your testing thing, a couple of years ago, I was asked, end of the school year, I asked a girl behind the counter, you got any test here at the end of the year? And she said, only the ones that if we do poorly, the teachers get in trouble. So the kids have figured it out. And my question is, Delaware County's population now, when the country's like, what, 340 million something, is 45,000. When the country was 150 million, it was 45,000.
Yeah.
It seems like we're staying steady, and we've been there since about 1860. But every place else is growing,
Yeah.
so clearly we're losing population.
Yes.
And everybody here knows that at the end of any given year, you hear about 1 or 2 or 3 families who moved to Tennessee.
Oh, yeah.
And we have a little quaint custom here called a Catskill Mountain Career, which is 3 jobs. You know, what might a representative in Congress be able to do on the economic development side of a rural set of small villages and hamlets like we have here that just don't have any jobs?
Yeah. So, thank you for your comments. Just to, one of the sort of comments in response to your comment, this is a conversation. The other area where we're seeing really high profits is hospitals. And what you see is if there's, sometimes there's a reason for a hospital merger that's a very good reason. But with those mergers, the prices go up. Because the hospital then can say, hey, you want that service? We're setting the price. So there's a real pricing problem. You know, it's the monopoly problem. If there's one service in the area, it's a problem. I also, on medical, I have a real soft, not soft spot, but I have a real passion for dental care and making sure there's adequate dental care. It is so essential, so worthwhile in preventative effects. And I really support dental clinics and other experiments like that to provide basic preventative care that's really, really needed. Okay, so economic development. Number 1, as I said before, but I will say it again and I will keep saying it again, and the reason you know I will keep fighting it is I was out there fighting against the Comcast-Time Warner merger. I was out there fighting for net neutrality. I have been out there fighting for this vision of universal neutral broadband for a while. Is that without broadband, it's going to be very hard. It's really essential. So broadband and cell service are absolutely essential. Now we can talk about the big vision, but in the short term, in Congress, one of the things you can do just as a basic service level is help negotiate contracts so that you don't have every different town and village on its own negotiating tough contracts where they don't get a good deal. Right? This is, you can just help with those negotiations. Help connect different leaders to help with those negotiations. In Kingston, I already connected the mayor of Kingston to some people that I know from the tech sector, because I've done a lot of work in the tech sector, on, are you going to be building rural fiber? How? Where? Let's be part of that experiment. There's some experimental areas, and I would be pushing for those experiments to be happening right here. Second, ag. Small ag is fantastic, important, and I would support it. My heart is in the farmer of the middle, that mid-scale ag that is, as one farmer told me this morning, the old saying was the farmer dollar turns over 7 times before it leaves the community. The mid-scale ag, money stays here. Right now, subsidies, all to big ag. It's upside down. It's not a fair shake if you're a dairy farmer here. You're competing against big ag who get more federal dollars. So I will be fighting against unfair subsidies and for a farm bill that supports the farmer of the middle and the agriculture of the middle, because that is what this region can really thrive with. And we have, of course, the market of New York City, which is absolutely essential, but we have the markets of our own schools. We have the markets of our own institutions, our hospitals. Helping those connections are critical. If you're for a lot of school contracts, you have to, just to give you an example for imagining your dairy farmer friends, to get a school contract, besides milk, you need to provide orange juice. Now, I don't know any dairy farmers around here who grow oranges. So that helps big ag. That doesn't help the farmer in the middle. There's all these little areas. Now, these little areas aren't put in by accident. These aren't just, oh, we messed up. We forgot about the farmer in the middle. No, it's because Big Ag is spending its money lobbying for subsidies for Big Ag. That is absolutely essential to this area. I'm really excited about 28 tourism and the new scenic designation. I'm trying to get my campaign manager to give me a week off so I can bike it. Tourism is absolutely critical to this area, and agro-tourism as well. I mean, there's a lot of other different possibilities, but there's also a growing arts community. And I really, I don't think of arts as a luxury. I don't think of it as an arts luxury in education, and I don't think it's a luxury in a community. And so that part of growing an economy is endorsing and supporting artistic endeavors as well. Can I just say one broad thing? just one thing, right? What is that, like MacGyver? No, it's not MacGyver. It's the guy.
Columbo.
Like, Columbo. Just one more thing. When I imagine this area 20 years from now, when we have busted up these companies, changed the way that we fund campaigns, it isn't a one-size-fits-all community. It's a whole blend of different small businesses, medium-sized farm, tourism, innovation, all of those together. And I actually think that's what a healthy economy looks like. Yeah.
We have in this country 118 million households. About 27% of those households are on some level food insecure.
Yeah.
We see it a lot on the local level. This is a very personal thing for me. These folks are, you were talking before about the powerless. These are completely powerless. These are folks who, they're not frustrated, they're numb. And as a representative in Washington, in a Republican-controlled House, what happens here is I will get people come into the pantry the third week of the month. First couple of weeks are kind of quiet. It's third week of the month.